So Essar has been a prime example of how CBM can be developed in India. It is a showcase case for the government of India, in fact, for the entire subcontinent. There has been no major player like Essar into the entire CBM space. We are one of the largest CBM producer. We produce about 65% of India's production. And India has a huge role to play on the CBM space side. I think people across the domain can take an example and a leaf out of the case that we have set up. We are currently producing about 1% of India's production. We have a firm line of sight to produce 5% of India's production. And we have already lined up the relevant capex. The relevant rigs are already working on ground in terms of making sure that we accomplish that first objective of ours. So we produce about 1 million standard cubic meters of gas per day. India, holistically, at an Indian level, we produce 90 million standard cubic meters. So we are roughly around 1.2% of India's production. And as I mentioned a little while back, our effort over the next 2 to 3 years would be to go from 1.2% to almost 5%. And there is a clear roadmap ahead before us. We have a complete line of sight in terms of what exactly needs to be executed by when. So by 2026-27, we should be at a 4.5 to 5 million standard cubic meters of gas per day. The big thing that Essar has achieved is we have really doubled our production level from about 4.5 lakhs or 0.45 million, which was there about 1.5, 2 years back, to almost 1 million now. So we have doubled up our production. We intend to drill 200 additional wells, which will be largely directional and verticals. Then there is a firm plan of sight to drill 200 horizontal wells, which will be the first of its kind. We have, at Essar, our sponsors take immense level of pride in making sure that we make India self-reliant on gas. I was mentioning in the discussion earlier in the day, India has one of the best geology of coal reservoirs. We have almost 400 billion tons of coal, which is fourth largest across the globe. That has a potential to produce almost 3 trillion cubic meters of gas per day. And there are numerous examples available both in China as well as Australia, which have shown that CBM can be raised from a mere 1 million standard cubic meters of gas per day in 2000 in Australia to today at 120 million standard cubic meters of gas, which is almost 35% higher than India's overall production. So CBM has a huge place, CBM has a huge potential, and I see no reason why India cannot tap this story. So we at Essar have been imbibing the most cutting-edge technology. We were the first one to imbibe and to put radial drilling into India. We have been fracking for historical number of years now, which is again one of the news. And the level of fracking that we have now moved at is that we have enhanced the level of proppant to almost 4 times that any other operator used to do. So the quantum and the throughput of that has been increased to almost 4-fold times. We have also put in one of the latest and the cutting edge technology in terms of chemical formulation. We are the first, not only in India, but globally to do microbial as a part of production enhancement. So you talk about a technology, and we at Essar have been the first and the pioneers to imbibe and to put that into actual on-ground execution. See, we are looking at an investment of almost 1,800 to 2,000 crore over the next 2 to 3 years. And the company is very well poised in terms of making those investments. We today produce about 1 million. The plan is to really go to almost 5 million over the next 2 to 3 years. And as I was mentioning, the well locations, the drilling rigs, all that has been mobilized. All that we need to do is make sure that this plan is put to execution.